uniendo al webinar, pero muchas gracias por estar aquí. Hoy soy Susan Bonfield, soy la directora de Environment for the Americas y esta serie de webinars es parte de bueno, esta continuación de nuestra serie que tuvo mucho éxito el año pasado, donde hablamos de los temas de conservación a lo largo del año para darles más detalles al respecto y lo puedan incorporar a sus programas y a su evento del Día Mundial de las Aves Migratorias. No, nos gusta agradecerle a nuestro equipo de Environment for the Americas. Trabajamos desde Canadá hasta Argentina, pasando por el Caribe para promover la conservación de aves a través de la educación y la conservación. Y agradecemos también muchísimo a todos los voluntarios que nos ayudan a hacer este trabajo de conservación. También tenemos socios globales alrededor del mundo con los que trabajamos, la Convención de Especies Migratorias, la ruta migratoria de Australasia y de Eurasia y también compartimos algunas especies con esas otras rutas migratorias. Muchas gracias por todo lo que hacen en otras rutas migratorias. Y tampoco podríamos estar aquí si no fuera por nuestros patrocinadores y nuestros donadores. Muchas gracias a nuestros patrocinadores. Estos son los grupos de organizaciones que nos ayudan a que estos webinars sean posibles para desarrollar materiales de capacitación a lo largo del año. También también, nos ayudan a llevar el mensaje en el continente. Diseñadores también contribuyen al programa y nos ayudan a imprimir y distribuir materiales o incluso a crear materiales que pueden descargar de nuestro sitio web. Como saben,
conservation, whether it's the reduction of plastic pollution or the creation of partnerships, to understanding that birds connect our world. So just raising awareness and getting this information into your work wherever you may be. And this year, we're really excited to focus on community science and its benefits to bird conservation. The art this year is amazing. It was created by Luisa Lucera of Brazil, and I'll get into that in a little bit because we're going to have a webinar that focuses just on art. But what I want to do now is I want to give you a little bit of a challenge that you can participate in as we move throughout the rest of the year. We want to challenge you to gather data on migratory hummingbirds as they move southward from their breeding sites in North America and Canada. You can go to journeynorth.org and find their hummingbird observation portal. On that website, you can sign up wherever you might be, and you can see the maps of what kind of information is there. And you can see that we need more data on these hummingbirds, where they're going, where they stop. Rufous hummingbird, for example, is a species that is in steep decline. We're very worried about it, and we want to know where it is and where we can best put our efforts for its conservation. Likewise, any other hummingbird species you can include in this database. It's very easy to do. You sign up, you go in. When you see a hummingbird, you put in your observations. And then for hummingbirds, it gives you the opportunity to ask a little bit more. You can add whether it's feeding on insects, nectaring from flowers, or visiting a bird feeder. So this kind of information is really helpful as well. So we encourage you to do this. We're going to have some fun little competition associated with it or some kind of drawing for your participation. So Rufous hummingbird is on the move already, and we'd love to see what you find on it. And as other hummingbirds move, we again encourage you to put your observations in. If you want to join us in August, Louisa will be on with other partners to share information about embroidery and birds and art and its importance to conservation and to motivating communities. We will not have a webinar in July, so we'll be taking a break. So have that month, and we'll look forward to seeing you in August. But in the meantime, if you contribute to our programs, if you donate $20 or more, you can be entered into a lottery to win a bird feed camera feeder. And these are amazing. I have one, makes me glued to my feeder on my phone. Every day I want to see who came to visit. But this is a great opportunity. The funds that we raise through donations all go to help us provide materials for educational purposes across the Americas. So we donate over $45,000 worth of education materials to partners who want to host education programs about birds and their conservation where they live. So your donation is very appreciated. So thank you very much. And thanks to BirdFee for the contribution of the feeder for this effort. If you need more information, as always, please reach out to us. If you're not familiar with World Migratory Bird Day and you want to get involved, please send us your information to migratorybirdday.org or info@environmentamericas.org, and we'll respond to you there. So I want to say thank you very much for joining us today. We have a star lineup to talk about technologies in tracking birds and learning more about birds. So I'm so excited to have Holly Merker, Casey Halverson, and Dr. Mikko Jiménez on today. We're going to launch our program with Holly. And Holly is an author, an educator, a bird guide, really pretty much everything else you can do related to birds, I see with Holly's name on it. Holly is also the author of Ornithotherapy, and we just appreciate her support of all the work that we do, not only through her book, but also through her, just her support of getting people engaged in birds and bird conservation. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Holly. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Susan, and also hello and hola, buenas tardes. I wanted to talk to you about BirdFee today. As Susan said, I am a consultant for BirdFee. And what is BirdFee? Maybe some of you have never heard of it before. Well, BirdFee allows for large-scale bird observations through user-generated activity across a global database. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about that on the next slide. So, Susan, if you could advance. All right, so first off, BirdFee has a global reach, and the products that BirdFee has users in 215 countries and regions across the world. This is a platform, an online database, and it has over 2.2 million registered users, which is pretty exciting. Approximately 7 million bird-related video interactions occur through the BirdFee platform every day. And you'll get to see a little bit why this happens and why there are so many. And this system has accumulated over 1 billion bird video interactions over the past few years, which is pretty exciting because we get to see birds in real time and live right outside our windows and doors. And this just allows us to deepen our connections with the birds we have and live around us, right? And so it's pairing together an understanding of the birds and the ecosystems that we share with them. And what I like to think about BirdFee is it gives us this closer view. We get to see the birds up close, and through these products, and I can share a little bit more as we look at some of the videos, we're able to learn more about the birds, but also develop a deeper relationship with them. So let's talk a little bit about how BirdFee products work. So first off, one of the fun things about BirdFee products is that they are AI birding tools, which means that what happens is that you will get an alert. So the feeder, or perhaps it's the bird bath or the nest box, is connected to an app on your phone. These products do need to have Wi-Fi connectivity, and with that, once a bird comes in, a video is triggered. There's a motion sensor, and all of a sudden a bird appears, the video captures it, and AI is able to help
You're muted, Susan. I think Holly lost connection.
All right, we think that Holly may have lost connection and she's off the room. So Casey, are you ready to go? Could I move the
Sure.
presentation?
Yeah, we can start.
Okay, we're going to move on to Casey Halverson and hope that we get Holly back on. So Casey, ready for you. Thank
Great.
you. So let me introduce Casey. Sorry to go so casually, but this is Casey Halverson with Cellular Tracking Technologies, which has become famous in the bird world. And Casey's one of the founders and the chief operating officer. So we really appreciate your being on today. Apparently, he's got the extreme technology expertise that it takes to prepare
Yeah.
these tags and these ideas for tracking tools and gathering this kind of information. So Casey, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so I'm going to talk about a couple different technologies here, but let's see. That's actually my business partner and his wife, it's Mike Lanzone with a snowy owl. They're in the background attaching a transmitter, and that one's called Project Snow. Really interesting. But yeah, you can go on to the next slide. I don't know how to signal you, but our company was founded in 2007. Basically, Mike Lanzone reached out to me randomly. We didn't know each other, and he had this crazy idea of putting tracking devices on eagles and using the cell network to help track them. So I met up with him, and we started designing on a kitchen table, and then soon now, this is our building we moved into in 2020, and we got um, about 35 employees right now. And we actually manufacture all sorts of telemetry devices. So obviously we still make eagle trackers, but we can go all the way down to monarch butterflies and really teeny, hummingbirds and so forth. And I'll go in a little bit about what those trackers look like. And then we're headquartered in Cape May, New Jersey, southern tip of New Jersey. It's on the beach, a really nice area. It's actually one of the top migratory points in the world because it's sort of a bottleneck before they cross the Delaware Bay along the east coast of U.S. here. We have our own manufacturing facility and so forth. You probably, well, oops, I'm sorry. Maybe go back one slide there. So we actually manufacture everything in-house. So we have our own circuit board assembly machines and so forth, which allows us to do some really cool stuff. Like especially when you make monarch butterfly trackers, there's a lot of big equipment that's used to make it, and there's not quite a company out there that makes the teeny solar panel circuit boards that we need. So we brought in everything in-house, so we're able to do everything end to end here, right here at the headquarters. And then you can see on the right here is a rack of Terras, and we'll talk about Terra. It's a bioacoustic product. You can go on to the next slide. Um, and then we'll talk a little bit about wildlife telemetry before we go into bioacoustics here. And you can go on to the next slide here, and you should see there's my business partner, Mike Lanzone, with one of our first tracking devices on a golden eagle. And these use the cell network. They're solar powered, and they have a battery inside. And they can provide even at every second of positioning. So we can get some really cool stuff like thermals and so forth as they fly. I think I had a picture of it in here. I don't know if it's animated on the next one. There we go. So that's I believe it's either a condor or golden eagle, basically flying through thermals. And it's really cool because even if it goes out of the cellular coverage area, there's no mobile network available. It stores all its data and then uploads. So we can get migratory tracks all the way to the Arctic and back. And you go on to the next slide. But those tracking devices, we got them down to about maybe 2 or 3 grams. But there's obviously a lot more species that are smaller. And so we came up with another technology, originally licensed from Cornell University, called the And we actually have several different variants of these tags. But these are like the life tag is a solar powered device. It's just like a solar calculator. It just needs sunlight and it's always transmitting. And that's making use of the MODIS network. And so these are receive stations. You can move on to the next slide. These are receive stations that are all around the world, actually. I guess maybe I didn't have a map of it. It might be later on, but these MODIS stations are around the world, and as birds fly by, little pings are transmitted, from the little backpacks, and then that data is collected and processed through Birds Canada, and that's where we can get some migratory tracks of some really small species. But this technology is even smaller. So this is actually one of the transmitters for Project Monarch that they're using. But this has got a solar panel, a little antenna, weighs 60 milligrams. It's the world's smallest tracking device, and it never, runs out of battery because it doesn't have one. And we're able to actually track the first migratory or first migration of monarch butterflies all the way down, from various Canada, United States, all the way down into Mexico, up into the mountains. And then now they're actually, well, what was it, maybe in May, they started emerging basically again and going north. So we actually got their north tracks, which unfortunately I don't have a video of, but I'll show you what they look like here. And go on to the next slide. We're actually leveraging a lot of different things here. So these teeny little tags, and we actually have a variant for hummingbirds as well. But essentially, sending out these little signals, and they're picked up either by a sensor station, by a Terra. You can see a Terra down there, and then the Project Monarch app. And actually, we have a new technology that uses basically any smartphone, as long as it's actually could be any iPhone or anything like that. It'll actually ping off of it automatically. They don't even need an app. So there's actually like basically millions of people out there with these smartphones, and we're pinging signals off of them, through the network. So it's pretty incredible what kind of data we're able to get. You can move on to the next slide. And here's a video here. I don't know if you have to click play on it or there we go. So you'll see they kind of go in different bursts, and that's when they have like a big migration event, and they might hold off for a little bit. Sometimes they go astray. You'll see one guy goes off of the Bahamas and pinged off of a cruise ship, we believe. But and then actually one left Cuba there and went across Yucatan. So you can kind of see they all gathered up into kind of around Mexico City and so forth, up in the mountains. And then that's the first time anybody's able to track really any fine scale tracking of any monarch migration, and they put out hundreds and hundreds of transmitters. So it's really incredible data, and it kind of shows, at least for this season, there is definitely some sort of flyaway in place, and so perhaps if we plant I don't know like pollinator gardens and whatnot along those paths, maybe focus on people to do this in their backyard, it might make the monarch even more successful in its migration. So really cool. I mean, we're going to learn so much for this data, but let's move on to the next slide here. And now we actually did hummingbirds, and we actually, the hummingbirds, obviously, they're very small. And so, really, the only way we could be able to track them now is with that blue morpho tag. So there were some tagged along the Gulf states, and some of these have some really incredible tracks. You can go on to the next slide. And here's one that was tagged kind of around, it was in Alabama. It went all the way up to Juneau, Alaska. And this guy, I mean, it was just 36 days, and it's just incredible. And then we lost track of it after that. But this is with the blue morpho tag and pinging off all those phones, as I was kind of mentioning. You can move on to the next slide. And then here's some sneak peek of some other migratory packs or tracks we've gotten. These are hummingbird tracks as well. We can move on to the next slide. And some more tracks from a banding project that was taking place, I think, down in Mexico. Or no, it wasn't Mexico. It was and it, let's see. They were down in Panama. That's right. Okay. I think, yeah, they might have taken Panama or Costa Rica. That's right. One of the two. Sorry. Let's move on to the next slide. So we also have bioacoustics. So you can move on to the next slide. I know I was only given 10 minutes here. So this is a really cool device. This is called the Terra, and you saw it earlier on that first slide. This is basically using AI. It's kind of like the sound version of the BirdFi, but this is using AI to identify what birds are singing, and uploads the data to our servers. Everybody can view, what other Terras are identifying. You can download the app today. Just look for Terra Listens on Android or iPhone, and you can look around the world. We're really heavy in North America, but we do have some stuff popping up in South America and Latin America and so forth. We actually got something in Grand Cayman, which is pretty cool. And these are some views of the app. We also have global feeds. The idea is that we can set up listening stations around the world and people can tune in, and listen to a different part of the world. And, I think that, if you're looking for something to maybe host at like a visitor center or something like that, it'd be really cool to put one of these and install one because we could actually put it in the app and add it to one of our global feeds, and everybody can listen and learn. And then I also have a migration watch here. So this is a wood thrush, and this is a live look at where it's detecting wood thrushes. So the idea is that as things migrate, you can actually look at the map and see kind of where they're at, just from acoustics. You move on to the next slide. Oh yeah, let me put the name of the app into the chat here so everybody has it. And we're doing things actually to empower community scientists around the world. Had a group, the Zillow family actually had their entire neighborhood set up with terras, and they were trying to basically prevent this piece of wooded land from being basically clear cut and apartments being built. So they were actually able to prove that there were some endangered species that were making use of the land, and they're able to put a stop to that development. So. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Anybody can download this Terra Listens app. It's completely free, and you can listen to some of the sites and look around the world. And I guess thanks for listening. I'll put our website too, so you can learn more about the things we do into the chat.
Casey, that's just amazing information. And apologies, we're going to have a little technical difficulty today, including I don't believe that Holly has come back on.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Okay,
Yeah.
great. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go back. I'm going to have to pull the slides off and then go back to your presentation, which I was going to actually wing it and do it for you, Holly, but thank you very much. Oh, actually that worked, I think.
Yeah, that did work. Thank you. And I apologize. We're having a windstorm here in Pennsylvania right now. And so bad weather sometimes makes the internet and Wi-Fi difficult. So I think I was talking about how these products work. And so thinking about that, we were talking about how these smart bird feed products show us when somebody's visiting through a camera that activates with motion. And then the camera also is able to identify the bird that comes into your feeder or your bird bath, or perhaps it's the nest box. And in addition to that, BirdFeed has a pretty large platform with lots of ways to connect with other BirdFeed users. People are sharing their observations with each other. So this is one way it works. So next slide, please. All right. So as I was saying, let's talk a little bit about this AI powered camera. So with every product, and this is what makes it really interesting because we get to learn a little bit more about the birds around us. And these cameras are able to identify the birds through recognition. It's using patterns to identify the bird. And as you see here on a slide, this is the gray catbird visiting my feeder. Well, at least that's what BirdFeed told me when I look at the app. So if you can hit the advance, that'll show you right here. I want to show you this little box here and hit it again. There is a box, what happens is, for example, if the AI isn't correct, and I love this feature because we can look at who's visiting, and just like people who are bird watchers, we don't always get it correct. And so there is an option to correct that. So you'll notice that the camera has identified this bird as a gray catbird, and yes, indeed it is. However, if I disagreed with that, I can look at where it says wrong recognition and tap that, and I can teach the system exactly who the bird is, which is really fun. It'll also give you different views of the bird that show you how the bird was identified. So in addition to that, you might see new field marks on a bird you've never noticed before, which I find to be really quite fun and a great way to learn. Next slide, please. So one thing I really love is how these smart products allow us to connect with other people in our lives. And this is from my phone. You're seeing a screenshot. What happens if a bird visits? I get a pop-up notification on my phone. I can even send it to my watch if I have a smartwatch. And it allows me to see all the birds visiting. So I never have fear of missing out. I do a lot of traveling with my work, and I'm able to see and continue to make connections with the birds in my own yard. So I love this too because my kids and other family are able to join this same bird fee account, and they get to also experience the birds even though they live far away. And I get text messages from my kids saying like, hey mom, did you just see who was at the bird fee cam? So it's keeping families connected. It's a great conversation piece. And I really love this because birds do bring people together. And that's just another wonderful thing about them. Next slide, please. So this is what one of the feeder products looks like, and this actually has two different cameras on it, but you can actually buy it for it with three cameras. With the two cameras, it's great. It gives me different views, and as you can see here, this was during a snowstorm in my yard a couple months ago. Where at this feeder right now, I think we have 4 different species visiting, and I love watching the interactions of the birds together and who's visiting, who tolerates who. What kind of behavioral interactions are there? And then, okay, next slide, please. And so we can hit the play on this one. Again, with these products, we're able to watch interactions. And normally, this is a northern cardinal. And normally, northern cardinal sits the other way on bird feeders facing the seed. But in this case, I found this really unusual. The cardinal was facing out. What was really neat was being able to see that indeed there is another bird sitting on the feeder, and this one is the American goldfinch. But when I looked really close at the video, because of this unusual posture, I noticed there was a female cardinal sitting in the tree. You can't really see it well from here, but it's pretty funny. And that's why he was posing, because this was just around when they start the courtship period. So next slide, please. So in addition to the many different feeders, there's also these wonderful opportunities to attract birds through water features. And so the bird feed bath is my favorite product because, not all birds come to feeders. A lot of birds come to water features though, and all birds need water. So thinking about it from that perspective, and these feeders also have a bubbler feature, and birds are attracted to the sound of moving water. And what happens is if you want to hit play for this next one, you'll get to see the cardinal in action. Here is a little bit of an interaction here. So the cardinal is coming into the bird bath here, but all of a sudden, whoops, the blue jay came in and pushed the cardinal out. And then another blue jay was getting excited. And as you can see, this is a really great way to understand these birds. Next slide, or press it forward, and then you'll get to see that not only does it have the wider view, but you can also see the closer view. So I get to enjoy the eastern bluebird, a nicer look, perhaps even get to know individuals who are visiting the feeder. Next slide, please. Also, BirdFeed has a few different options for attracting birds that include nest boxes. So this one is a nest box we just put up in our yard not long ago. And as you can see, my husband thought it was really funny to put up this sign that says for rent when he helped install it there. And bluebirds only. We're hoping to attract bluebirds. We do have multiple nest boxes that are successfully used by bluebirds, and that he sent around to the family. So next slide, please. But what these look like on the inside, this allows us to observe the nesting pattern of the bird. Next slide, please. There you go. And if you hit play, it'll play the video for us here. You'll get to see this eastern bluebird that came in checking out this new nest box. He's looking to see, is this a new spot for us? And really, I really feel like this helps to lead to a greater appreciation. Next slide, please. Yeah, and if we hit play, it'll play. Yeah, so this is a house wren coming into a friend of mine's bird box. And as you can see, we get to really understand, like, how do they build their nest? How many eggs do they have? And then watch some of the intimate feeding rituals. And the cameras are out of the way. The birds are checking these boxes out for a while, so they get to understand this habitat. Next slide, please. So thinking about this, I just want to say how important it is if we're thinking about setting up nest boxes, water features, and or bird feeders. So the first really important thing is responsible use of bird feeders and birding products. And this includes thinking about where you're placing these products so that they're out of harm's way for the bird, that there are no cats or perhaps windows nearby that the birds could strike against, a lot of other things. And there's many different resources to teach you best practices in setting up bird feeders. Next bullet, please. And this also includes the regular cleaning and maintenance for hygiene and also disease prevention. And this also includes the bird feed bath and any bird bath you might have, refreshing the water to control insect pests like mosquitoes, but also to keep it clean for the birds. Next slide, please. And positioning the feeders as complementary to natural habitats rather than replacement for them. So we're supporting system that we're living around. Bullet, please. And this helps us to learn how to support and have an awareness of local native habitat preservation and work with that. And next slide, please. So this is all a learning tool, in other words. Helps us get to know the birds better, but also the habitats we share. And so I just want to thank you and thank you for your time with us, but also with the birds. And if you're interested in learning more about that or how birds are good for us, I'm sure there's many different resources available. So thank you and adios.
Thank you so much, Holly. I'm glad you made it back on. That was excellent, and we really appreciate your time and for joining us today. We will take questions after our next speaker. And apologies, but I now need to go back into a different location in my slideshow here, and I'll get to Dr. Mikko Jiménez, also known as Mikko. And Mikko actually was down the road from our offices in Colorado, getting his master's and PhD from Colorado State University. He's now with Lincoln Park Zoo and their Urban Wildlife Institute on his postdoctoral program. So Mikko, I want to thank you for joining us, and he's going to bring it home for us and talk about how you can engage your communities in doing community science. So thank you, Mikko. Take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'll talk and have you talk a little bit about my career path. I'll
Gracias
talk a
por
little bit about
invitarme.
that.
Voy a hablar un poco de eso y de mi carrera profesional. Voy a presentarles 3 lecciones que aprendí. No son lecciones holísticas, solamente son 3 cosas que yo pienso realmente le han dado forma a mi manera de pensar sobre la naturaleza. Y bueno, un poco sobre mí. Lo que hago, como Susan mencionó, soy un investigador postdoctorado en Urban Wildlife Institute en Chicago y mi grupo se enfoca en estudiar ecología urbana, cómo interactúa la vida silvestre con las ciudades y con la gente dentro de esas ciudades. Creo que es la siguiente. Y yo me enfoco en aves migratorias, entonces mucha de la investigación que hago es sobre cómo interactúan las aves con las ciudades en su trayecto migratorio. Ahí tenemos una animación. Esta es la Sandhill Crane y la tengo en mi parque local, aquí cerca de mi departamento en Chicago, y cuando la vi, pensé en todo ese contexto sobre dónde ha estado esta ave y cómo podríamos usar la tecnología de rastreo que presentó Casey y también en su migración, cómo interactúan con paisajes urbanos. Y mi carrera ha seguido un, un ciclo. Empecé como investigador en Urban Wildlife Institute y después hice mi maestría en Colorado State University, donde estudié ciencia de conservación y después empecé como un biólogo de alcance en la Audubon Society. Pensé más en lo que quería hacer en el futuro, en las tecnologías de rastreo. Después fui a Nueva York y terminé estudiando en Colorado, perdón, un doctorado en la Universidad Estatal de Colorado y retomé el tema de la migración y ahora volví a Chicago para para convertirme en investigador de postdoctorado nuevamente en el Urban Wildlife Institute y yo trabajo con la ciencia comunitaria de muchas maneras. Voy a hablar un poco más al respecto en mis siguientes diapositivas y voy a explicar los cambios que he tenido en la perspectiva de para involucrar a las comunidades en la ciencia comunitaria. Voy a empezar con lo primero, supongo. Les voy a mostrar mis tres lecciones muy brevemente para entender, primero que nada, hay que entender la red, definir las metas y pues las relaciones son recíprocas. Y estas son las tres ideas principales en las que pienso cuando hablamos de involucrar a más personas en la ciencia de la conservación. Entonces, primero hay que definir nuestras metas. Lo que quiero decir con esto, definir las metas, creo que una manera de hacerlo es qué le estás pidiendo a la comunidad que haga. Y para ser más concretos al respecto, digamos que, no sé, están pensando en hacer un programa científico de conservación y tenemos beneficios potenciales y costos potenciales. El beneficio obvio es que el público en general participa. Encuentras una manera de que el público participe en el trabajo que tú haces, ya sea en todo el proyecto o en una parte del proyecto, y creo que ese es un gran beneficio de uno de estos acercamientos a la ciencia de la conservación. Muchas personas, y voy a hablar de esto también, hablamos de la calidad de los datos. Hay personas que opinan que eso es un costo para la ciencia y creo que eso nada más sucede cuando no tenemos una meta fija de lo que queremos lograr. Y también cuando hablamos de un costo efectivo, es decir, por cada dólar que le pongo a esta campaña, entonces, ¿qué recibo yo? ¿Cuánto compromiso, cuánta participación? Y estas son las cosas que tenemos que balancear cuando pensamos en un programa de estos y si queremos enfocarnos en el involucramiento del público, entonces el beneficio pesa más, pero si queremos datos precisos, por ejemplo, para tomar una decisión importante, entonces el costo de la ciencia comunitaria nos puede salir un poco más caro. Pero la realidad es que no le ponemos un valor específico a este tipo de acciones y esto es algo que estudié como parte de mi maestría y lo hice mientras estaba diseñando un programa como Susan mencionó, cuando vivía en Boulder, Colorado. Y esto cómo está asociado con el monitoreo de ciudadanos científicos en oposición a los científicos profesionales. Muchos de los voluntarios con los que yo trabajé ya estaban en el cambio científico. Y bueno, para que conozcan más el programa, se llama Nature in the City Biodiversity Project y queremos monitorear aves y mariposas en Fort Collins, que es una ciudad que está creciendo muy rápidamente, con ambos, con científicos comunitarios y técnicos. Y lo que queremos es identificar hábitats de alta calidad en todo el modelo. Y muy rápidamente corremos estos programas al mismo tiempo, reclutamos y contratamos científicos comunitarios y técnicos y los vamos involucrando en la recolección de datos y en las observaciones, y al hacer esto pudimos comparar estos sets de datos directamente y también hicimos encuestas para antes y después para medir el nivel de involucramiento. Eso es lo que encontramos. También les voy a dejar un link en el chat. Este es un trabajo publicado que pueden encontrar en línea. En el involucramiento público nos dimos cuenta que participar en el programa de ciencia comunitaria los ayudó a identificar aves y mariposas de manera más efectiva, tanto para técnicos como voluntarios, y no vimos ningún cambio en actitudes de conservación. Y esto es lo que nos puede comunicar es que sí hubo cambios significativos en actitud, perdón, que no hubo grandes cambios en actitud, pero ya tenían una actitud bastante positiva a la conservación. Entonces, no hubo cambios en la actitud hacia la conservación en este programa. También el tema de la calidad de datos. Bueno, esta gráfica está bastante ocupada. Estos son las aves más comunes, los robin, el house finch, el mirlo, y bueno, era muy fácil identificar estas especies para los científicos comunitarios, pero especies que a lo mejor no son tan comunes como el Western Meadowlark, fueron más difíciles de identificar para los científicos comunitarios. Entonces era muy fácil detectar qué especies podían detectar los científicos comunitarios y los técnicos. Y nos mostraba que el modelo de ciencia comunitaria le fue mejor que los técnicos. Y esto está basado también en las capacitaciones y en el dinero que tuvimos que invertir en cada uno de los programas. No tenemos mucho tiempo, así que nos vamos a brincar esta diapositiva. Y podemos llegar hasta el final. Creo que sí, puedes seguir avanzando. Y todos estos hallazgos lo que nos dicen son recomendaciones que nosotros le hicimos a la ciudad de Fort Collins, y la razón por la que no pudimos cambiar la actitud de la conservación es porque estábamos reclutando personas que ya estaban interesadas en la naturaleza, en las mariposas, en las aves. Entonces, sí hay una conexión ahí en cuanto a lo que podemos hacer con el programa. Sí, si le pedimos a estos científicos comunitarios identificar especies comunes, y parece que son muy buenos para eso, porque no eran tan buenos con las especies más especializadas. Creo que esta parte de pensar en la meta que queremos que hagan es muy importante. Nada más voy a pasar rápidamente por estas diapositivas, ya que no tenemos mucho tiempo. Primero que nada es entender nuestra red. ¿Quién está haciendo el trabajo en el mismo lugar que ustedes? Yo estoy en Chicago, estoy trabajando con Aves Migratorias y sé que hay otros socios, otras personas, otras organizaciones que están trabajando con las aves también en mi misma región. Y lo que hice durante mi doctorado, en mi esfuerzo por entender esa red, es que hemos tenido reuniones cada 2 meses con todos estos grupos para poder entender quién está haciendo qué, porque lo último que queremos es reinventar la rueda. Algunos trabajos se traslapan, así que es muy importante entender quién está haciendo el trabajo en el sistema o en la región, en la ciudad donde ustedes están. Las relaciones son recíprocas. Esta es una lección que todavía sigo aprendiendo. Si la gente se está comprometiendo a dedicar su tiempo, entonces tú cómo te estás comprometiendo con ellos. Para las personas que son voluntarios, les puedes dar certificados, les puedes dar oportunidades de desarrollo profesional, hay compensación monetaria que puedas darles y también si esta gente asiste a tus presentaciones, a tus juntas, entonces tú asistes a sus presentaciones. Tú puedes dar una presentación para ellos y también quiero mencionar al Feminist Bird Club. Creo que ellas son muy buenas en estas lecciones. Eh, Tienen un modelo muy efectivo y la fundadora, Molly Adams y Sydney Golden Anderson, escribieron un libro que se llama Birding for a Better World, que se trata de cómo construyes estos lazos en la comunidad a través de las aves. Y creo que es todo lo que tengo. Voy a poner mi email en el correo, entonces si quieren seguir con la conversación, siéntanse libres de contactarme y gracias. Muchas gracias, Mikko. Es muy raro encontrar una presentación como esta donde podemos encontrar datos que apoyan el trabajo de involucrar a la comunidad. Quiero traer a Mikko, Holly y Casey a la pantalla porque vamos a pasar a las preguntas y si pueden poner las preguntas en el chat, se las podemos hacer a nuestros presentadores y ellos responderán para ustedes. Tengo que regresar porque sé que había una pregunta sobre descuentos para trabajos en educación. Sí tenemos un descuento actual que pueden encontrar en el chat. Pueden usar ese descuento para Bird Fee y esperamos poder expandir este descuento a diferentes proyectos. Déjenme ver si hay preguntas. Mientras esperamos si hay más preguntas, si la pusieron hace algunos minutos, por favor la pueden volver a pegar. Perdón, es que no alcanzo a regresarme muchos mensajes. Creo que había una para Holly. ¿Cuál es la distribución de los alimentadores de Bird Feed? Tenemos socios en todo el mundo, entonces, ¿cuál es la distribución? ¿Dónde pueden comprarlos? ¿Cómo pueden adquirirlos? Bueno, pueden ir a birdfee.com. Ese es el sitio web de BirdFee y este producto, los alimentadores, las cajas de nidos están disponibles en muchas tiendas en Norteamérica, particularmente los pueden encontrar en Wild Birds Unlimited. Algunas sucursales lo tienen, a lo mejor también Home Depot, Target, creo que Kiwi las vende. Pueden nada más ir a Google y ver cuál es su mejor opción. Y Casey, te voy a hacer una pregunta a ti. Con los datos de Terra, algo que me parece muy interesante es ver ese mapa. Creo que lo abriste, pero Cuando
Yeah.
vas al mapa de Terra,
see the location of all
ves
of the units,
la
and then
locación
you
de
go to the
todas las
tab,
unidades Terra
and that lets you
y
see what
puedes
the
seleccionar
species that particular
la unidad
site
y te
is,
dice
has, which is, I think, fascinating. I was wondering if
las
anybody
especies
wants
que ha
to do a
escuchado.
research project in that
No
area,
sé
how would they, or
si
could
alguien
they
quisiera hacer un proyecto de
access the data?
investigación
Yeah, that's a
en
really good
su
question.
zona, ¿cómo podrían
We when we
obtener los datos
launched
de esa
Terra,
zona?
we wanted to
Cuando
make sure
lanzamos
all the
Terra,
data was
no
collected and made
estábamos
available to
seguros.
nonprofits and
Bueno, la
different
idea era recolectar todos
research
los datos y que estos datos estuvieran
researchers. And
disponibles
so
para
we do
organizaciones
have the
sin fines de
ability to
lucro y para
export data.
investigadores.
So if
Entonces
somebody
sí tenemos la
has
habilidad de
a
exportar los
question of
datos. Si
like
alguien tiene
species
una
or
pregunta,
location,
no
they can
sé,
reach out to me
sobre
directly,
especies,
and we can
ubicación,
data
pueden
for that area,
contactarse conmigo directamente
and provide a CSV of all the
y
intersections.
yo les puedo dar
We've had a few people do
todas
some
las
research in this
detecciones.
area, but we just
Ya hemos
haven't
tenido
really
personas que han hecho
established
investigaciones con nuestros datos,
a
pero no
trusted
tenemos
process for it yet.
establecido un
But I'd
proceso
love to collaborate
formal para
with
eso,
somebody
pero me
on that.
encantaría
That's a
colaborar
great
con
idea.
alguien si le
Um,
interesa, si le
I
sirve.
think it would be really
Creo que es una gran
interesting to
idea.
share
yeah.
some ideas. Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, I did
A lo
create a
mejor nosotros
discount
tenemos
code
a
too
alguien.
because I
Ah, y
thought
por
it'd be
cierto, yo tengo
efficient
también
for
un
folks
código de
to
descuento porque
offer
me parece
20% discount.
apropiado
So
que les
I'll save that
ofrezcamos
for you.
20% de descuento.
Is that in the chat, or you?
Yes,
¿Y lo dejaste en el
yeah,
chat?
it's
Sí.
let me just double check the code here.
Déjame
The
verificar
discount
el
code is
código. El código
WMBD.
es
Oh, okay. So
WMBD.
that's that one. That's also for the birdie
Ah,
feeder.
Yeah, it's also
y ese también
just to
es
make it easier for
para
people.
el alimentador de
Okay,
Birdfeed.
that's great.
Bueno, eso
Thank
es
you so
para
much.
Yeah.
facilitarle a las personas que usan el
And
código de
then,
descuento.
Mikko, I'm going to have a question
Y
for you, and
Miko,
then I'll go back to some of the
tengo una
questions from
pregunta
boxes
para
in the
ti
chat.
y después volvemos a las
You
preguntas
had
del
that
chat.
list of recommendations, and I
Tenías esa
wondered
lista de
how you
recomendaciones y me
in your
pregunto, no sé, a lo mejor no
research on
escuché bien,
Japanese science
pero en tu
researchers,
investigación
how much
de
training did
científicos
Japanese
comunitarios
scientists get
y
for their jobs?
técnicos, ¿cuánta capacitación
Yeah,
le diste
good
a los
question, and that's something I
científicos
yeah typically go over, and I have a
comunitarios,
little
a
bit more
diferencia de
time
los
to spend on it.
técnicos?
But
Sí, esa es una buena pregunta. Normalmente cuando
we
tengo
do
más
like a
tiempo
group
sí abordo
training
ese
for that
tema.
program in particular. We did a
Tenemos
group
un
training at
grupo
the
que se
beginning of the
enfoca
season, and
en
then
eso. Hicimos una capacitación general
for
al principio de la
each individual,
temporada
we
y
would
después
go out
para
to
cada
their site
individuo
with them one time and like walk
íbamos a
there with
su
the
sitio
outside viewpoint,
para estar en campo,
as
para
well as like do a hard
enseñarlos
walk with other
a
guides.
hacer
And then if there was additional
eh,
kind of
un conteo
training,
de
if
puntos
they felt that there
para
was additional
observar a
training
las
needed,
mariposas
we would
y si
going out
había
there
una
throughout the season. There was
capacitación
a little,
que ellos
the
pensaban que
idea there
necesitaran, los
was,
seguíamos
there's kind of
visitando durante la temporada.
a
La
training that everyone,
idea
a standard amount of
es
training that
que
everyone has, but then
sea
there's some
una
amount of
capacitación que todo el
individualization
mundo
that's needed.
tiene, pero
Yeah.
también que sea flexible y se pueda personalizar conforme sea necesario.
So now I'm going to go back to the chat and the
Y
questions.
ahora
We had
en las
a
preguntas del
question
chat,
for Casey. Is there a
una pregunta para
subscription
Casey.
required to
¿Se
attend?
requiere suscripción
And
para la estación Terra?
Subscription required.
No, no se requiere
Terra.
suscripción
We
para
are going to have
Terra.
some enhanced features that
Vamos
require
a
that
tener
somebody that
algunas
uses our servers to process
eh,
data and whatnot. But right
funcionalidades
now you get
que
some functionality
sí
for free,
van
so
a
you can have the
ser
product. And
por cobrar, pero ya
the
tenemos
Terra does
muchísimas
two things
funcionalidades
that
dentro del producto a las que pueden acceder
preview
gratuitamente.
first
Hay
streams
tres
audio, and it's
factores
just for you. I know there's a privacy question in here, which is great.
y sí hay
So
una
you can
pregunta de
only listen to
privacidad
your own
aquí.
stream, other people can't see them.
Solamente puedes
It
escuchar
also and it's a
a tu
stereo
propio
experience.
streaming
It's really relaxing. It connects it
y es
in
en
example,
estéreo.
you
De
can even have a chair
hecho,
and listen to the ocean. It also has a
puedes, no
mode
sé,
system,
escuchar el
so
océano y ni
picking up
siquiera
different
necesitas
wildlife
un
charts.
Terra.
And then lastly, it's doing AI,
Y
bird ID.
también
And
la
so it's
identificación de
not like
aves
recording
con
constantly.
IA.
It's only
No
making
es
the recording
algo
when it detects
que esté activo
a bird sound. So
constante,
if you're seeing
solamente hace
a
un reporte
cardinal
cuando
distant
detecta
away,
sonidos.
it'll
Si un
decide to
cardenal
focus that
hace un
cardinal
ruido,
tuning.
entonces
There is,
va a
I guess
empezar a
there's
detectar
probably
ese
some
cardenal que está
way where
cantando.
maybe you set
A lo
a couple
mejor
words within that 3 seconds, but
eh,
you can.
en ese
There's
lapso
the
alguien puede
audio
decir tres
quality of our
palabras
servers.
mientras está
We don't
grabando
just
Terra,
let people
pero
arbitrarily listen to them.
no
You can
escuchamos lo
make it
que
available
grabamos
for
de
other people to
manera
kind of review and make
aleatoria.
sure it's accurate. Some of us we do, share with
Sí lo puede
some
verificar alguien más.
scientific partners, but The other thing we've been working on here
Pero
is
pues
a
por
way
su
to
parte
map
nosotros no
human
escuchamos
audio.
eso.
We've been
También
working with technology
trata
to block the
de
audio, so if anybody is
invisibilizar el audio humano.
they won't be able to understand what's being said.
Entonces,
And
incluso si
you can
escuchan
think
a
of it as
gente
like a
hablar,
security
no van a
camera.
poder
A
entender
lot of
lo
people
que
have these
dicen.
outdoor security cameras, probably recording audio.
Muchas
It's
personas
actually
también
recording, storing
tienen
data.
una cámara de seguridad.
So yeah, it's kind of, like maybe people might not
Funciona
be
más o
comfortable
menos
with it. You
así.
can actually turn the streaming on and off if you want to.
El streaming se puede encender, se puede
It's
apagar.
kind of, I think that a lot of
Creo
people are comfortable with, putting
que
up security
muchas
cameras outside,
personas
that may catch audio while you're
em,
outside, but
están
we
bien
felt
con
it
la
was
idea
important
de
enough. Told the
poner
folks
cámaras
that
de
it's not
seguridad
going to be
fuera de su
easy for
casa.
people.
Y
Focus
sí
on
damos la
what we do.
recomendación que no se pongan los
Just about
dispositivos
that.
Terra
When you go on
en
the
lugares
map, how close does it get to like your actual location?
privados.
That's another
Entonces,
good point too.
si
So we
vas al
have
mapa de
a
Terra,
location privacy level. So you could basically, you
qué
could
tanta
say, hey, this is
definición
exactly
tiene?
where my Terra is, but by default,
Pues eso depende de los
it'll do this in
usuarios
a couple hundred
también. Ellos
meters,
pueden
and you can actually
decidir,
set that up
este es el lugar en
with
donde
pictures
estoy, que
somewhere else
tiene
on the map.
un margen
Still the
como
same
de
issue,
algunos cientos de
but
metros.
that your location is
eh,
specifically
pero
being shared.
no, la ubicación en específico no se va a compartir.
And I'm going to go to you. I don't
Y
want to go over this too long because it's not
no
about our
quiero tardarme
formal
mucho
topic today,
porque
but
no
Holly is
es
the
nuestro
author of
tema
Bird Therapy,
focal
which
hoy,
a lot of people are interested
pero
in the
Holly es la
field and the
autora
cat.
de
So can you
Ornitherapy y
just tell
muchas
them a
personas
little bit about
están
what Bird Therapy is about?
interesadas
And then
en
I'll let them
eso.
know that you're sending them a link
¿Nos
if they're really
puedes
excited to
contar
go check it out.
qué es Ornitherapy?
Sure. Well, so my work,
Sí,
not just the book that
mi
co-authored Bird
trabajo,
Therapy,
no nada
but the work I
más
do
el
specializes in
trabajo
nature-based
que
wellness and
hice
connection
coescribiendo
that
este
humans
libro,
really
yo me
need.
enfoco en el bienestar humano y la conexión
Through
con la
nature
naturaleza que
in
los
order for
humanos
overall
necesitan
well-being. That's physically and
para
mentally,
estar
and
bien,
all those gifts that
tanto
nature
mental
and
como
birds provide.
físicamente.
And
Y
so this
considerando
is
todos
my
los
work
regalos que la
offshore. You
naturaleza y
put it
las
in
aves tienen para
the
nosotros,
chat box there.
pueden
The
aprender más de mi
website doesn't
trabajo en mi
reflect this,
sitio web
but
que
there's
acabo de
now
dejar en
some
el chat.
research suggesting, and you know this
Y
anyway,
también
probably all the people
quiero
have to,
mencionar
how
que hay
birds
investigación
make
que
us feel good,
demuestra
feel
que las
better.
aves nos hacen
But there are
sentir
many different
mejor.
ways to
Y hay muchas otras
benefit from
maneras en
that,
las
but
que
also
nos
see
podemos
that the
beneficiar
reciprocal
de
relationship,
eso. Y
as
también esto es una
we're
relación
hearing
recíproca,
earlier about
como
reciprocity. It's not just
escuchamos
about what the birds do
anteriormente. No
for
se
us,
trata
also
solamente
about
sobre lo que las
deepening those
aves pueden hacer con
connections
nosotros,
that
digo
allow
por
us
nosotros,
to have
sino
that
también
relationship
de
with the birds
profundizar esa
so that we
conexión con las
appreciate
aves
them
para
more,
tener
right?
una
And
relación
more
con
people are going to
ellas
want to take
y
care
los
of them.
valoremos
So
más
that's a little
y
bit more
así
about my
podamos
work
cuidar más
and
de
the
su
area of
hábitat. Esto es un poco de mi
specialty that I'm
trabajo y mi
focusing
área
on.
de
And that's
especialización.
why I work with BirdFeed, because
Es
they
por eso que
feel
yo
more
trabajo
about
con
this
BirdFeed,
as
porque
well.
ellos también comparten esta filosofía.
Thank you, Holly. And I
Gracias,
see
Holly.
that you answered the
Y vi,
question
Mikko,
in the
que
chat box.
respondiste la otra
That was some
pregunta
clarification about the third piece of
en el
advice that
chat.
we need to
Era una
take
clarificación
for
sobre su
species
tercer
here. So I'm
consejo
going to
para
go
el
through
trabajo de
all of
ciencia
them really
comunitaria. No sé si
quickly.
quieras decir algo más antes de que concluyamos la
Yeah, I'll
sesión.
just rehash what I wrote, and
Sí,
I'm happy.
nada
Please
más
email
voy
me if anyone
a
wants to talk more
a
about
decir lo que
what I
respondí.
do.
Si
But
quieren
hey,
ponerse en
this just
contacto
is it. I
conmigo,
think a
por
lot of
favor,
community
siéntate con la
science or
libertad de
community
escribirme. Creo que mucho
engagement
de la ciencia
programs or
comunitaria
conservation,
y
you ask me to do
programas
the volunteering part
de
often. And I think it's worth just
involucramiento,
considering if you
les
can
estamos
offer them
pidiendo
anything,
tiempo
whether
y lo
that's
único
just space,
que hay que
whether
hacer
that
es
is financial
ofrecerles algo,
compensation, or
financiación,
again, like
perdón,
certifications,
compensación
things that can
monetaria,
prove they can show that they're
certificaciones,
fun. So it's not just this
algo que pueda
extractive relationship.
mostrar
I think that's a really good thing
que
to start with.
estuvieron ahí y que valoramos su tiempo. Creo que eso es algo
Excellent.
importante
Thank
de
you so much.
considerar.
Yeah,
Excelente,
I had
muchas
one
gracias.
more that I don't know if you can
Y
answer
tengo
yet, but it
una
talks about
pregunta más
longevity or any survival
que habla de la
costs for
longevidad
use of transmitters on different
con
species.
el uso de
That's
transmisores en las especies.
a big ongoing question.
Bueno, esa es una
But
pregunta que permanece sin
obviously
respuesta.
it's not zero.
No
But
es cero,
a lot of research
pero
goes into
mucha
determining whether or not
investigación,
the
eh,
transmitter impacts the
se lleva a
behavior
cabo
and
mucha
the ability
investigación
to survive.
para saber la
A lot of
viabilidad de
things get done, but
sobrevivencia
we
del
focus heavily on
dispositivo en el
ergonomics
animal.
and making sure that
Nos
it provides
enfocamos en la
space
ergonomía para asegurarnos de que el
ergonomically with the
dispositivo
bird. Obviously,
le quede
keeping the
bien
latency between the left and
ergonómicamente
the
a
right is
la
an important
ave,
way
que
of not
sea
impacting
el
their behaviors
3% o
by
menos de su
really
peso para que no tenga impacto en su
you know,
comportamiento y en su
I know
sobrevivencia.
there's been quite a few
Y
studies on
sé
this.
que ha habido
I
muchos estudios
don't
al
really have a
respecto.
good answer,
No tengo
but
una respuesta
a lot of
concreta,
thought goes into making sure that we
pero
don't, harm these animals when we do track them. This is
nos
limited by,
aseguramos
some of the
bueno,
populations, but
tomamos muchas medidas
there
para
are some
que
examples
no
where
les
if you're
causemos
in the
daño.
major California condor, for example,
Por
you're actually helping
ejemplo,
the
el cóndor
because
de
I believe there's
California
about 400 left, very critically endangered. So we're actually protecting them
está
from wind farms. So if they get near
muy
a wind
amenazado y lo que
turbine,
hacemos
they'll
es
off
tratar
road
de
and let it down the
protegerlos
trough and avoid a wind strike.
de las
I mean,
granjas
nobody
eólicas.
likes to
Entonces lo
see
que
them
tenemos
die,
es un
but we do
dispositivo
everything
en
we
las
can,
granjas eólicas que
and
detiene las hélices cuando percibe
we
una ave cerca.
use the best guidance. Obviously, again, lab
Tratamos
expertise.
de
For
tener a los
instructions,
mejores
transducers, and
guías para
attachment points and
poder
things like
definir
this.
en qué dirección vamos a ir.
That's always at the top
En
of
cuanto a los
mind. But I
transmisores,
think
es
that
algo que
definitely
siempre
appears to be a need for
consideramos
more research
y
on
creo
this
que, pues,
topic
por
that
supuesto que
definitely
hay
not
oportunidades de investigación
not
ahí
ignored or forgotten about.
y no es algo que ignoremos y que no se nos olvida. Y Casey, yo quisiera mencionar eso porque también estamos trabajando con ustedes para probar los transmisores. Estamos trabajando con un estudiante de la Universidad de California y está actualmente en un estudio de 6 meses de salud de los colibríes y está usando estos dispositivos porque no quisiéramos trabajar con CTT si no les importara y valoramos muchísimo todo el esfuerzo que hacen para que sean seguras para las aves. Creo que alguien estaba hablando sobre un sistema de valores y ojalá que todas las personas que trabajan con las aves valoren la vida de estas aves y lo valioso de estos datos sobre dónde van, su comportamiento, porque es difícil probar y comprobar a dónde van. Y el colibrí rufus se está desapareciendo a niveles tan rápidos que queremos saber en dónde tenemos que enfocar nuestros esfuerzos para tener el mayor impacto posible, lo más rápido posible. Entonces todo se trata al final del equilibrio. Siento que no nada más es tu responsabilidad, sino que es toda que es responsabilidad de todos los investigadores de ser conscientes del impacto que lo que hacemos tiene en las aves. Todo lo que hacemos es importante para las aves. Y bueno, nos va a dar mucha emoción ver el futuro de esta tecnología. Valoramos el trabajo que todos ustedes hacen. Muchísimas gracias por el webinar. Ha sido fascinante. Y vamos a mantenernos al tanto sobre los siguientes webinars y lo que sucederá con estos proyectos. Nos vemos en agosto. No habrá webinar en julio, pero volvemos en agosto con temas de arte, bordado y conservación. Muchas gracias.
Thanks for having us. Bye.
Thank you.
Gracias.